Coming up next.
People go in what I call a pendulum swing. They'll be over here. They won't be doing anything. They'll hear all this, go, oh my God, I'm going to go all the way to this side. I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to be in bed at this time. And all of a sudden, after 2 weeks, they're like, oh my God, I can't do this. And they ultimately shift back to where they were here.
Have you been following me, Justin? This sounds very familiar.
Welcome to the Subject Free Podcast. The unfiltered real estate podcast where 4 agents share real life stories from their careers in the crazy world of real estate. Now welcome Alan, Viv, Matt, and Adam.
That's why you're not performing and getting to the outcome that you want. Everybody wants passive income. Everybody wants a great, powerful family. Everybody has the desire. It's not a desire issue, it's a capacity issue. And how do we get there? Consistency and intention. That's the way that we create a plan in which we can execute over time, and the outcome becomes inevitable.
All right.
Woo!
All right. Welcome to the Subject Free Podcast.
Woo!
I am Adam, and this is Alan, and we are brought to you by Legacy Brew.
Legacy Brew
and Snapview. We have a lot of guests on. We have social media stars, we have realtors, we have a whole host of different types of people.
Today is the biggest guest
Today
that we have.
might be, we don't often have a New York Times best-selling author on the pod. So I would love to introduce to you Justin, and I'm going to, again, Roethlingshoefer from author of The Power of Ownership on the podcast. Justin, thank you so much for joining us today.
So great to be here, guys. I appreciate this connection and just being able to spend time with you today.
Yeah, we're super excited.
Yeah, we are super excited. How this came to be, so Alan and I were at the Rise conference, which is put on by Real Broker. And this was in 2023?
Yeah, 2023 in San Diego.
In San Diego. And Justin was one of the keynote speakers of that.
Amazing. Blew everybody away.
With his talk. And we'll get into kind of what Justin is all about in a bit. But he was put on to us by Sharon, who's the president of Real Broker. And I'd love to know, how did you, a former professional athlete and author, ever come to know Sharon in the real estate world?
Yeah, so I was down in Anaheim at the time, working with the Anaheim Ducks. It was in their health and performance side of the coaching team, and was going back and forth between San Diego and Anaheim. And there was an event down in San Diego that Sharon was speaking at. And so I just happened to go. It was a time in my life where I was really kind of like, you know what, I want to start developing me. Like I gotta start growing in some of these other areas. And it was a personal branding, marketing, personal development event. And after I started chatting with Sharon, we went up, we got a picture together, like you do with typical people at that event. And I went back home, and about a year and a half later, I was back in Edmonton, where I was originally from, for Christmas. I had like a 2-day break. And I remember posting a video. I went outside, it was snowing about 3 feet deep. It was about, let's go Fahrenheit for everybody, like 6 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, wow.
And
Crazy.
I was outside in my underwear doing snow angels. And Sharon sends me a little message through Messenger, goes, "You're crazy." And we started chatting again, back and forth. We kindled it up. And lo and behold, about 6 months later, as I kicked off what is now our business, Own It. He loved the idea. He loved the concept. He loved what we were all about. He loved our mission and our passion. And he became our founding advisor. He really guided us to how to build the business, how to structure it. And now all of a sudden, fast forward 4.5 years, and we've got a team of 50 and helping thousands across Canada and the US. And that's Sharon amazing. was on the ground floor with my wife and I.
So was that the year when he saw you in your underwear shoveling or doing the snow angels? Was that the year that you got lost in West Edmonton Mall twice in your book?
Oh gosh, no, I got lost in West. That was probably 2 years prior to that.
Okay.
2 years prior to that.
Yeah. That was a great story, by the way. I love that.
Yes.
So let's talk about, before we talk about The Power of Ownership, which is your book, let's talk about Own It, because I'm interested to see what you guys are doing with your organization. Can you tell us a little bit about Own It?
Yeah, so Own It exists to help entrepreneurs and business owners live for high performance today and longevity tomorrow. Really, at the end of the day, we want people to die young at a very old age. So we can really help them to maximize their influence, their impact, and their legacy. And the way we do that is, I think most oftentimes what you find from concierge docs, functional docs, health coaches, health technology nowadays is it's very transactional from the stance of you go in, you get a blood test, you get a report, and away you go. Then you're upsold into a series of supplements. And then you might be told, hey, come back and do it 6 months later. Or you go into a doc and they run everything, you leave, they give you a plan, and they're like, yeah, we'll see you in another 3 months. Well, what we do is we take all the guesswork out of trying to piecemeal it all together. So when you come into our ecosystem, you're going to have your functional doc, your registered dietitian, your strength coach, and your cognitive behavioral therapist, who's all going to be in one house and in one team, looking at your DNA, epigenetics, cellular testing, and biometric wearable information that we're getting every single day off of you, so they can build personalized plans in a very proactive and preventable way, and then hold you highly accountable or relentlessly accountable to these things, so that the outcomes you're looking for, the increase in energy, the decrease in burnout, the decrease in fatigue, the decrease in sleep interruptions, the increase in weight loss, the increase in longevity, the decrease in pharmaceuticals that you're on, decrease in blood pressure, decrease in cholesterol, whatever it is that you're looking for, that outcome becomes inevitable. And so we use data to drive decisions in your life, and we become that core hub. We call it like the board of directors of your health, to really take you forward in a very personalized, proactive, and performance-driven way.
Wow.
So when you started this, I know this is in the book, and the book is amazing, by the way, guys. You guys should pick it up and take a listen, take a read. But in your book, I believe at the very beginning when you were learning all this stuff, you were still playing on one of the teams, correct?
Yeah. So my journey goes back to when I was like, I just heard at 8 years old that my role in this world was going to be a part of the redemption story of the health of America.
Yeah.
And you can imagine an 8-year-old thinking this, talking about this. You're a weird dude, like stay away from me. And so as I went on this journey, I just started to read a lot. I became very obsessed with the human body, what it does, what it's capable of. I wore a heart rate monitor for every single thing I did at the age of 12. I started to read medical journals at 13. I started to wear brainwave sensors while I slept at 14. Like, this was the level of obsession that I had with it. But the unique thing about my journey is that I actually never had my health. I was a fat kid. I was a kid that was constantly made fun of. I became the anorexic kid that feared everything. My OCD took over in a major way, had kidney and liver failure at 16 years old. And ultimately, everything that I often come back to is that I was always told I was broken. Always something need to be fixed. Something always need to be treated. But in fact, I didn't want to know how to treat something. I wanted to know why it was happening. Like, what's happening inside my body? How do I understand this thing at a better level so that I can be empowered? I can be equipped. I can be educated. I can have some level of control when I felt so out of control.
Yeah.
And as I came down to the States, I did came down on a hockey scholarship, ended up doing 2 undergraduate degrees in exercise science and nutrition, went and did my master's degree, and then I continued on with my postgraduate doctoral work in heart rate variability and sleep. And it was after I started to see all of these different mechanisms from DNA, epigenetics, cellular health, and looking at the data component, I actually started to realize that, man, our bodies have a language, and they're constantly trying to communicate with us. And so I stepped into the NCAA as a health and performance director at Miami, Ohio. And as soon as I started to just gain traction, kind of run my own program and have full autonomy over how we did things, how we optimized players' recovery, how we created N of 1 solutions, so unique solutions for every single player, we started to see massive results, massive change. Vaulted me into the NHL, gave me some credibility, gave me a platform that I was extremely grateful for. And as that happened, I obviously was able to speak into more things. I was given more responsibility across the league with different members of my peers. And suddenly I started to start businesses. So I'm starting a business. I've got this career that's going on. And in 2019, I started to have just these massive headaches, this back pain that wouldn't go away. I'd fall asleep. I couldn't stay asleep. I'd bloat with everything I ate. And ultimately, they found 4 precancerous polyps in my colon and a precancerous ulcer in my stomach, and was told that I wouldn't see, that I wouldn't see 35.
Wow.
And it really hit me in a big way, going like, my gosh, what we're solving here and what we're doing for athletes, this isn't an athlete problem. This is a human problem.
Every day.
And
Yeah.
we have to learn how to take ownership of this tool, this vessel, this vehicle that we're living in, so that we can carry out the call that's on our life. And that's really what prompted me to go. And so at the time that I met Sharon the first time that I spoke of to open the story, was in that moment that I had been told, hey, you're not going to see 35. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know who I am without the NHL. I don't know who I am without this. Like, without this NHL logo, without the team logo, like, I don't have value to anybody. Who am I? And so I really started to explore a lot of these things and start to get connected with myself and do work on my identity and what I was put here for, which started to really open up these doors for me to say, hey, you know what? I'm not the league. I have a bigger purpose and calling on my life, and how am I meant to serve the audience that I'm here for? And ultimately, now looking back, after thousands of business owners and entrepreneurs have come through, it's just been amazing to see the transformations and the true renewal and redemption of their health.
Yeah.
And who is your client avatar? If you're looking for people to join Own It, who are you looking for? Who you have right now already participating in the program?
Yeah, I mean, it's business owners, entrepreneurs. It's the people who I tell this story. We get results because we're not sitting here trying to beg people to actually do what they want to do. We want people who want to change. Yeah. I was down when my time in San Diego, was doing some work with the Navy SEALs, and went down to Coronado Island and was watching them train one morning. You saw all these men and women locked arms getting crushed by waves. After they're getting crushed by waves, they're army crawling through the sand. They're full regalia, boots and all. They're soaking wet. Everything's heavy. They get onto ladders. They climb up a helicopter. They go over. They jump into the water, pull these 250-pound dummies back to the shoreline, only to start it all over again. And after about 6 hours of this, I went up to the captain and I said, hey, Cap, this is fascinating. Like, this is wild to watch. But I said, what do you do when it's not a clear blue sky, but it's a storm? There's thunder rolling through. There's lightning strikes happening. There's wind blowing. There's 15-foot white caps. There's a capsized ship in the ocean, 150 people strewing, and you have to send your men and women in. Who do you save first? And he goes, who do you think we save first? And I was like, man, I don't know, like women and children, the people who are struggling. He goes, no, the people we save first are the people who are swimming towards the helicopter, because it gives us the most opportunity to save the most people. Yeah. And that changed my whole thought process and mindset of who we serve. We serve people who are swimming towards a helicopter, the tip of the spear people who have continually stepped into wanting to do more, have more influence, have more impact, want to serve at a higher level. And because they have such a heart to serve and such a heart to create and such a heart to build, it's cost them their health, and they feel dull. They don't feel as sharp. They don't feel as energetic. They don't feel like they have that edge anymore. We serve that person to keep them sharp, to keep them going, to hone them in, because they desire it. They want it. They long for it. And thus, we don't have to actually drag them along. Rather, we come alongside them as a guide so that what they're doing is now precise. We're snipers in the way in which we operate, so that we can guarantee you the outcome that you're looking for along the journey, while making sure that it's built for you, it's personalized for you, and it's created for you.
I think that was one of the most interesting things. I mean, you have a lot of stories and analogies in the book, which is, for me, data-driven health stuff, I just don't understand. But then when you relate it to the stories, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And one of the stories that you had was about, I think he was a CEO or something, but he looked like he was in good shape, and his wife was helping him with some certain plans, and like there was talk about intermittent fasting and all that, but he just was not seeing the results. And then when you guys actually broke down the data for him, then he started to improve. And a big thing that I'm learning from your book is that the whole thing is like the causing of stressors. It doesn't matter what kind of stress. Stress from physical, stress from mental, stress for all these things. Like the whole holistic approach, I'd never even thought of that. I've been working out since I was a young kid, played like top level baseball, did all this. But it was never ever about the mental stress. no one ever talked about the mental stress and what that can do to the body. So I think it's been so interesting learning about that. How did you incorporate that into your program, and when did you realize that's a huge thing? Because you talk about the HRV levels and how it should be operating if it's not just trying to survive. But then when realizing the whole holistic, the mental stressors with the physical, when was that like a light bulb moment for you guys?
Yeah, to be honest, for me, it was at a very young age, because I still come back to, I couldn't put words to it.
Yeah.
And the only thing I could come back to was, and I'll tell this story, was, let's say a month before my kidneys and liver started to fail, it was like, it happened gradually. I always say this, it happens gradually till it happens suddenly.
Yeah.
Right. And one morning I walked up the stairs, my mom's jaw hit the floor as she looked at me as I'm yellow.
Yeah.
And, but it was a lot of things that I had been doing over the course of time. And I still remember leaving a doctor's office. I was probably 15 years old, sobbing, crying, just sitting in a room, people telling you that you're broken, telling you that you need to be fixed, telling you that you don't want to actually change, you don't want to get better, when it's not the case. I'm exhausted every single morning I wake up. And it wasn't so much that I wasn't eating, it was that I was over-exercising. And I still remember the reason I was over-exercising was because of the fear I lived in every day of getting fat and going back to the way that I was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that mental fear that I lived in, that emotional anxiety that I had toiling in me every day, was crippling to me. And it wasn't the hour and a half I spent on the elliptical and then the hockey practice later that night, but it was the constant agonizing toil in my mind that would not let me rest, would not let me sleep, would not let me just calm down. There was like a constant edge of where I was having to move through. And as I experienced that as a teenager, and then starting to learn about the nervous system and understanding, oh my gosh, there's a parasympathetic nervous system and a sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is that rest, digest, relax. Sympathetic is that fight or flight, like, like let's go, like let's time to rock and roll.
Yeah.
And that sympathetic nervous system produces adrenaline, cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine. And what ends up happening is so often the world puts these situations on us that the body has to respond in a sympathetic way. Mm-hmm. That's how we ultimately survive. Mm-hmm. But it's the things we're choosing, the choices we have, the things in our control that we have, that allow us to actually start to create a balance and a rhythm that put us back into the parasympathetic state. It's the mental work we do. It's the breath work. It's the sauna. It's the sleep. It's all the things that come and allow us to downregulate, that create a powerful rhythm that builds our capacity. It's like a balloon. If you all of a sudden try to take a balloon and without putting air in it and you just pull it apart, you're going to rip it.
Yeah.
But if you slowly start breathing into it and then you let the air out, then you slowly breathe into it again and you let the air out. You slowly breathe into it again, you let the air out. It gets easier and easier and easier to breathe because the air balloon builds capacity. It builds a stretch reflex. Mm-hmm. Well, it's the same thing with our body. And we just don't allow that stretch reflex to happen. It's like we want to go from 0 to 100 and we wonder why we get sick. Yeah. Go from 0 to 100, we wonder why we get hurt. Go from 0 to 100, we wonder why we burn out. It's a gradual increasing of capacity that allows us to really go. And so I always say, you're not overtrained, you're not overstressed, you're just under-recovered. Mm. And that becomes the big thing that we have to focus on so that we can start to do it in a very personalized way, and data can give us that information.
And you related that in the book, sorry, I'm just excited about this.
Go for it.
To the Tesla charger story.
Yeah.
I love that because you were trying to find, you plugged it into, you were somewhere in Texas.
Middle nowhere, Texas.
Yeah. And they didn't have a supercharger. So you're like, I have 36 hours. It's going to charge. It literally charged maybe 10% or something like that. Very little. And, but yeah, that analogy just really made sense to me because I'm horrible for sleep-wise. And Adam knows this. I'll be texting him at 2 in the morning. And then after he's already asleep, and then after he'll text me back at 5, 6 in the morning, and I'm texting him because I only slept 3 to 4 hours. Mm. But after reading your book, it's like, yeah, I need to recharge.
Yep.
I need that. Like, I'm always so much better. But it's also the quality of sleep, as you said. So when you're in these circadian rhythms, like you're talking about in your book, how did you figure that out when playing this all together? Like circadian rhythms with the mental stressors and all this stuff together, your heart rates, like all this stuff's so interesting. But for someone like me, I don't get the data. How do you explain it to someone like me who's trying to learn to get better?
Yeah, so let's break it down even simpler.
Okay.
So we're made up of cells. Each and every one of us. There's 3 of us on this call. Each one of us has somewhere between 30 and 40 trillion cells that make up our human ethos. And of those 30 to 40 trillion cells, 500 million of them completely become brand new every 84 days-ish. That means that in a 5-year period, we can go from the depths of hell in our health to thriving, as long as we start to live differently. And so if we know that cells run everything when it comes to our health, cells are the epitome of creating real change, real facilitated change, we have to realize that cells need 3 things. They need oxygen, they need the ability to remove toxins, and they need nutrients. Those are the 3 things that your cells must have. If at any point, because of your habits, behavior, and lifestyle, it hinders their ability to get oxygen, remove toxins, or get nutrients, it creates what we know as stress. And stress is ultimately the silent killer because it's slowly killing off cells. And so now we start to go, okay, cool. Well, what's the language of each one of these things? What's the language of oxygen in the body? What's the language of sleep? What's the language of nutrients? And what's the language of stress? Well, we know the language of stress, heart rate variability. Yeah. Heart rate variability is the language that our body's communicating how well we're adapting to the stress that we're putting into our body based upon the habits, behaviors, and lifestyles. So if we have a low HRV, again, what's low? People are going to ask. If you're 50 years old, you don't have an HRV above 45, that is considered low. The older you get, theoretically, the slightly lower it gets. So if you're 60, anything lower than 40 is an alert. If you're 40, anything lower than 50 is an alert. So things of this nature, think about in 5 increments, 5-year increments, it'll adjust. And so if we see this, it's like, my gosh, that means that the behaviors that I'm doing, the lifestyle that I have is hindering oxygen, removal of toxins, or nutrients in my body. Well, now how do I figure out this language? All of a sudden we go, how do I figure out if I'm getting the oxygen I need? It's called VO2 max. And we can measure VO2 max. VO2 max is the oxygen efficiency in our body. We can improve that through certain levels of fitness, purposeful fitness. Zone 2 work. Are we getting the right percentage, 60 to 70%, 3 hours a week? Are we getting that in every single week? Non-negotiable. So zone 2 work would be like a light jog in heart rate zone of like 110 to 120. 30 minutes a week of zone 5 work. That's like your interval work, like really, really difficult, really, really hard. And then 3 to 4 days of strength training. If we're getting those in, we should see our VO2 max number increasing. If VO2 max increases, that means oxygen efficiency is increasing. That means cells are getting the oxygen they need. By default, HRV is also rising. So all positive signs. So now let's move into the next one, which is removal of toxins. The language of removing toxins from our body is sleep quality. There's something called the glymphatic system that's only active during sleep, not just sleep, but deep stages of sleep, slow wave and REM cycles. And so if we're not tracking our sleep quality, we have no idea if the sleep we're getting is good quality or poor quality. And thus, we have to make sure that our sleep quality is somewhere between the area of 38 to 50% of our total sleep time in slow wave or REM sleep.
So my question to you is, sorry to stop you on there.
You're good.
If you're having quality sleep, but less of it, is that better than longer and obviously like a decent amount of sleep and like, you know, a bit lower quality than say the shorter amount? Like what's better for you?
So I'm going to put numbers to that I'm going to put numbers to that generalized statement. Okay. So let's say, who would you rather be? Would you rather be somebody who gets 6 hours of sleep at 50% sleep quality? Or would you rather be somebody who gets 8 hours of sleep at 25% sleep quality.
6 at 50,
Six,
right?
yeah.
6 at 50.
Yeah.
Because you're getting 3 hours of quality sleep versus 2 hours of quality sleep.
Okay.
So right there, you've solved the problem. You're getting an hour extra every single night of quality sleep. You're getting 7 extra hours a week. You're getting 31 extra hours a month. You're getting 365 extra hours a year. You don't make that up on a Saturday afternoon nap.
Yeah.
And so we can start to see the importance of managing and tracking sleep quality when it comes to the removal of toxins. Because now imagine all of a sudden that you're only getting 2 hours of sleep, or 2 hours of quality sleep, which is an hour less than the other guy who's only sleeping 6 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's a full hour of toxin removal from the cells that you're not getting.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
now we start to go into the look of dementia, Alzheimer's, forgetfulness, diabetes, all of these chronic illnesses that are just simply the autoimmune disorders that are just simply a reflection of the inability to remove toxins from the body that we were created to be able to renew and repair from, but we're not giving our body the environment necessary to actually follow through on it.
So if we were to reverse that, sorry, I got all the questions here.
I've never talked so little, by the way, but I'm totally fine with that.
So I'll give you an example, and I'll be very personal here. Like, I mean, obviously the bad habits I've had for years, but I've incurred, or actually I've got on now an autoimmune disease, which is an autoimmune arthritis, and it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of this, but I know it's from my bad habits, my lack of sleep. Is that reversible if you start to recharge and get the good quality sleep, or is it just really preventing what's coming for the future?
No, it's 100% reversible.
Really?
And that's that. But it requires a change.
Yeah.
Go back to what I said. 30 trillion cells.
Yeah.
500 million of them repair and become brand new every 84 days. That means you become a brand new cellular human being every 5 years.
Wow.
So literally, if you think about it, this is where we talk about consistency compounds. You're not going to reverse that in 84 days.
Yeah.
You might not even reverse that in 4 months. You'll probably start to notice fewer symptoms, but it requires you to be so consistent because you've now emptied your tank so low. You don't have the leg room, the playing room, because you've already come so far down the ski slope.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, from your book,
so
yeah.
your distance between the bottom of the ski slope and where you are is far different than where you started if you had really great habits. So you don't have as much room for error.
Yeah.
And so this is where people I think get really frustrated in their journeys is they're like, well, Justin, I'm like, I do it 50-50. 50-50 would have been moderately okay 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But you've been for 10 years, 10% on point and 90% very poor.
Yeah.
And your body's been having to deal with that and having to adapt through that and having to work through that. And there's been a cost to that. And so now we're going to have to actually be probably 90-10 the other way just to maintain, to get some level of homeostatic balance back so we can find a normative level and actually start to gain momentum. But the body is built to heal.
Yeah.
It's built to thrive, and it knows what that looks like. So you don't have to do anything. This is the best part. You just have to create the environments, create the habits, and create the lifestyle changes that are going to allow the body to do what it's naturally created to do.
That's amazing. Because I mean, I know you talk about this too. It's like having these doctors out there, and I mean, the stuff that you know, like they don't tell you this. Like I've gone to rheumatologists, I've gone to all these people, and they're like, oh yeah, it's incurable. There's a way to manage it, but there's no way you'll ever, get rid of this autoimmune disease. It's just managing it until it's time to go. And it's interesting that, I mean, like everything you're saying is like, oh my God, this is like, I finally feel like I have oxygen to breathe because I'm like, there's an actual way to solve this, right? So how's the adoption? Like, have you brought this to doctors, to other people in the industry, and are they just trying to shun you out of all what you do?
No, I mean, they love it because
Really?
at the end of the day, nobody's sitting up in an ivory tower going, I want you all to be sick. I want you all to not feel well. I think our medical system gets a bad rap a lot of the time. But it would be like asking for apples from an orange tree and then getting mad at the orange tree because it's only producing oranges. Is our health system was built to be reactive. It was built to solve problems. And I think it does that very well. If I have cancer, man, get me to my doctor, get me to my specialist. If I have a bone sticking out of my side, like get me to my surgeon, get me to my specialist. But my gosh, when it comes to preventable and proactive health, keep me as far away from those people as possible, because they've never been taught. That's not how the system's been built. And so we've broke the system. We've built a new system that is truly built around proactive, preventable, and hyper-personalized solutions to keep people well, to aid people in that journey, so that we can look into how you're being built and moving forward from there. That last point that I was talking about, you've got now your stress, HRV, you've got your oxygen, which is VO2 max, you've got your ability to regenerate, which is through sleep. And then the last component, which is cellular deficiencies, looks at what vitamins, minerals, and amino acids are you missing at the cellular level that your body's actually starving for. And so when we think about blood testing, and I can't remember which one of you told me that you just did your blood testing.
It's me.
Awesome. So when you look at what your blood testing was, and you're like, yeah, I found out I have high cholesterol. And it's like, okay, cool. What you just did was it called a blood serum test. So blood serum testing, it could be a CBC, a CMP, an LPP panel, something of this nature. It looks at what's freely floating through the blood. And the reason doctors or a lot of these other companies that are out there, 10X, Get Blokes, Inside Tracker, Function Health, they all look at blood serum testing. Why? Because it's looking at what is broken. If all of a sudden you have a high ADL score, you're like, oh my gosh, I have something's wrong with my liver, or something's wrong with my kidney enzymes, or something's wrong with my cholesterol or my triglycerides. They can ultimately fix it, right? There's a broken thing, so they can fix it. But what serum does is it looks at what's freely floating through the blood, not what's getting from the blood into the cell. And so we have so many people that have high levels of vitamin K, vitamin D, vitamin A, iron, folate, calcium, you name it, in the blood, but it's not available to the cell to actually use. And so they're deficient in it. So your body thinks it's starving for the raw material that it needs to actually function and build everything. And that is what we need. So many times you have blood serum testing that's like, hey, everything's good. And it's basically saying, no, not everything's good, just nothing's broken.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's where we need to go to the cellular level with our testing and understand that. And so these are all the things that we've put together, been able to have under one roof, be truly preventable, truly proactive, truly personalized. So we can now take you on a journey and revolutionize the way that you feel, truly redeem your health. I mean, you're no longer going to the doctor and they're saying, hey, yeah, everything's great. But if you were really honest with yourself, I don't sleep well at night. I'm exhausted all the time. I've got low back pain. I've got headaches that won't go away. And I've got this arthritis that seemingly has popped out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't know anything that's going on. Can't find anything that's wrong, because we haven't truly looked at what your body needs.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, like, you could probably see it on my finger right there. That's arthritis, right? And that's an autoimmune that just came up out of nowhere.
So this is all kind of next level stuff, I think, in your health. And we have the Western medicine, and then we have kind of this, which I don't think a lot of people focus on. Maybe can you talk a little bit, in your book, you talk about the myth of normal. Can you talk about that a little bit from your book?
Yeah, I think our culture has gotten numbed to what is normal. Yeah. And when we think normal, it's normal to get a phone call from a friend and say, yeah, I've got diabetes. It's normal to get a phone call from, or it's normal to walk into a restaurant and have a hard time finding a fit person. It's normal to go to the airport and see people grabbing random snacks and random sodas from the convenience stores. It's normal. This has become commonplace. It's uncommon. It's different to see people going to a restaurant and ordering grilled chicken with the dressing on the side. It's different. It's uncommon to see people packing their own food to go on a plane. It's uncommon to see people choosing their hotels based off of a gym and sauna, not off of location to wherever they're going. And so with the normal habits and behaviors that we as a society have seen as normal, but are actually dysfunctional, has created the outcomes that we're realizing today, where 64% of adults have a chronic illness. 47% have more than 2. The obesity rate in our country is 67%. The autism rate in children in the state of California is 1 in 21, where 25 years ago, it was 1 in 1,500. And so we're starting to see all of these things come to fruition in a result. And results are simply an indication and a lagging effect of our decisions from yesterday. And so we have to come back to what is normal, or what do we consider normal that's actually dysfunctional. And data can help to unleash a lot of those things in our life that we are completely oblivious to. We don't have the awareness. I still remember, like, it's a great question because my mom, and I'll use this example, both my parents actually, their health wasn't bad, but they were noticing aging symptoms, right? So my mom, terrible, you talk about rheumatoid arthritis, terrible rheumatoid arthritis. There's days where she can have a hard time closing her hands. My dad, terrible elbow pain, low back pain. And they thought they were eating really healthy. They thought they had great habits. They live up in Canada. I'd go home, I'd see them. They're having bagel and cream cheese for breakfast. They're having their tortilla shells with 45 ingredients for lunch in a chicken wrap that has the chicken is deli meat. They're having dinner that they make at home, but they've got all of these processed sauces together and making the meal. And then they go out for an ice cream together because it's something fun to do. And they're going to go watch a street performer in downtown Edmonton that evening. And that's what they're going to go do. And that's their day. And they wake up in the morning, they go for a two mile walk, and they think they're getting their exercise in. Well, all of a sudden they start to be told these symptoms that they're suffering from are normal for their age. This is what 65 looks like now. This is what being postmenopausal looks like. When none of these things are true, they're all lies. And when all of a sudden my wife and I decided, you know what, we care about our parents so much that we don't give them birthday presents anymore because every year we just renew their Own It subscription. And they're in our program. And so lo and behold, 3 years later, my mom, no arthritis symptoms anymore. All of a sudden the elbow issue with my dad dissipated. The guy runs 7 to 8 miles a day.
Wow.
It's like these things were not available to them 3 years ago, let alone not only were they not available, but how much further down the road in a negative sense would they be if they had just accepted normal. And so when I say these things, it's about gaining awareness to what we don't even know has to be different in order to create different outcomes. Because whatever outcome you're suffering from, it's simply your body trying to communicate with you saying something's not right. I need you to change something. And we have to stop accepting that what we're feeling is okay. I've got this saying, and I'm writing, this is in my new book I've got coming up, but I often say that the heart connects, the mind separates, the body feels, but the soul knows. And we do more now than ever to ultimately disconnect the heart, try to encapsulate the mind, imprison it, not think about how our body feels, and thus completely get confused as to what the soul knows is truth. And so because of this, things that were not necessarily designed to hurt us, we start to adopt, but we have to realize that they were never meant to heal us. And this is where we have to come back to the normal truth that we have to come back to the sound truth that what is normal is actually dysfunctional. And we have to take it upon ourselves to live a life that's different.
So this sounds like it makes common sense, right? Like it really does, but it's really hard. When you say it and then implementing it is a totally different thing, as you know. So what can people do? You know, what can they track? What they can do on a starting basis to kind of get all those things connected? And you talk and maybe kind of marry this about the 4 pillars that are so important. And you've kind of talked about that, but maybe go into that a little bit more about the 4 pillars that people can focus on to really change things. And then we'll kind of talk about the data of it as well, too.
And then we want to know about your program as well, obviously, because this is blowing my mind.
So there's a couple things. The first thing is, I think people highly underestimate what they can get done in a year, but overestimate what they can get done in a month. And so people go in what I call a pendulum swing. They'll be over here. They won't be doing anything, just living life as normal, kind of head under the rug. They'll hear all this, go, oh my God, I'm going to go all the way to this side. I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to drink hydrogen water. I'm going to go get my red light. I'm going to be in the hyperbaric. I'm going to get in the sauna. I'm going to get in the cold plunge. I'm going to go and I'm going to be in bed at this time. I'm going to cook all my meals. And all of a sudden, after 2 weeks, they're like, oh my God, I can't do this because this is not my lifestyle and I've tried to change too much. And they ultimately shift back to where they were here.
Have you been following me, Justin? This sounds very familiar.
I won't say I've been following you, but what I will say is that you're no different than everybody else.
Yeah.
Is
Normal.
yes, you live a life of normalcy.
Yeah.
And so when we think about this and we come back to this concept, we have to realize that I'm trying to decide how far deep to go in this. We have to come back to the foundational truth, is that we were created uniquely and wonderfully. We were created in the image of the ultimate creator. And when we sit there and we know this, we have to know the identity of which we were built. Until we know what our identity is, until we know who we were created in the image of, we're going to continue to try to prove that we're worth something, prove that we're good enough. We're going to be lost. True health is never found. True health is never found until we can actually step into what was there. Because at the end of the day, health optimization starts with identity. Before you do, you must know who you are. And you were created in God's image. Your body isn't a burden. It's actually the vehicle in which you're supposed to use. And so your calling, whatever it is that you were required to do, and once you embrace your body as it was designed, you stop treating health as a punishment and start seeing it as stewardship. And so that's the moment that your calling actually requires a tool that's energized, a tool that's aligned, a tool that's able, a tool that's capable. Remember the foundational truth. You were designed to heal, designed to thrive on purpose, because we know that whatever we're doing is going to have to be adapted to. But our habits and behaviors continue to hold us back from being able to adapt to that. And so in order to get where you want to go, you have to have a guide alongside of you, someone to set guardrails. And those guardrails need to be tighter when we're starting. And as we start to nail things and get routines and rhythms down, we can start to make the guardrails wider, which is why we come alongside you and hold your hand. We go on with the journey for you. It's not, hey, here's a PDF, go run the system. No, I need, like, if I walked into you and I said, hey, we're going to create a podcast for you. Here's the playbook. It's 480 pages deep. Go execute. You'd be like, bro, I don't even know where to go. I'm just going to go get a Shure mic and flip on the camera and everything's going to be successful. Well, no, because you didn't go through the system. You didn't understand the system. You didn't go through the framework to actually implement it step by step. And then once you got it going, then it just becomes old hat. It becomes routine. It becomes rhythmic. And how it's going to look for you is going to be very different than it looks for me. And so that's the same thing with our habits and behaviors. But because we don't go on the journey with anybody, we try to grab it all of ourselves and we end up stopping even before we've really started. And that's the thing that I see so many people is they give up before they've even started because they haven't had the guide or the team or the system alongside of them to hold them highly accountable to get the result that's sitting and waiting for them on the other side. I just want you to take what's already yours.
And it gets overwhelming, right? I mean, with everyday life and everything. But I think, like you said in your book, the consistency. It's consistency. Like consistency is the key, right?
Yes, consistency is the key, but I think that's too easy of a statement.
Okay.
I think too many people say that.
Okay.
Of course, consistency is key. Of course, discipline is required, but I don't think it's discipline. I think it's dedication. What are you dedicated to? What are you devoted to? You have to answer that question. And then I don't think it's just about consistency because, for example, this is a really good one. When you think about consistency, you would look at some outcome that somebody has. Somebody might look at me and go like, my gosh, Justin, you were overweight, you were anorexic, you were unhealthy for 33 years of your life. And for the last 5 years, you've realized like this true health transformation. Like you're crushing it today. I want to be exactly like you. No, you don't want to be like me. You want to help find the system that I've run for you.
Yeah.
You're not jealous of me or looking to do what I do because quite frankly, you wouldn't probably want to do what I do. but you do want to develop a system that I've developed.
Yeah.
And that's what we help you do, because my system will look different than each of your systems, but those systems will help to get you to where you're trying to go. And optimization, don't think about it for a second that it means perfection. I think a lot of people think about that. Health optimization means I found the perfect level of health. No. I have bad days. I have days where I don't work out. I have days where I still get colds. I have days where I still have no energy. That's just a part of being human, man. But guess what? It's the pursuit of better. If I have the understanding of how do I stack days, how do I identify what my body needs today so that I can be better tomorrow, what it means is that I don't tolerate anything, because what I tolerate today becomes the ceiling of tomorrow. But if I don't have a toleration of anything, my ceiling becomes a glass ceiling. And that's what we're after. That's the everlasting component of growth that we're seeking from this confine of a body that I think we get put into a cage in, and we feel trapped and imprisoned in our own self so often when it comes to our health, because we're gaslit, we're never heard, we're never understood, we're never actually given the blueprint or the map to go on a journey, but rather we're just told to stay in a box and be here, and this is where we should actually stay.
Yeah. Wow.
So you kind of talked about, not trying to do 100 right away, but starting small. Is that when you're in the program? Is that what you guys kind of help do, is design a program and then start with, hey, let's just take on this amount right now and then progress to 100, not start at 100?
Yeah, I mean, it's so much more than that. But yes, in the theoretical. So there's a couple things, and I struggle with this in the because people are like, well, where do you start? Should I start on just trying to go to sleep at a regular time? And I always say, no, man, like there's so many influencers out there and so much in the health space. It's getting louder and louder and louder. And it actually hurts my heart, to be honest with you, because there's so much conflicting information. There's so many false prophets out there that are continuing to make it seem like, oh yeah, just sleep better, exercise more, drink water, and eat whole foods, and you'll be great. Yeah. But it's like, that's just not it. Like, that's just not it. Your body has a language. We have to allow, I go back to what I said. You have to go back to allow your mind to separate what happens from in the day to what's happening inside. So what's happening externally to what's happening internally, you have to separate that. You have to make sure that the body feels. You have to make sure that your heart can truly connect so that you can allow your soul to know. And I know that sounds a little abstract, but what I'm saying is you have to come back to truly knowing the language of your body. You have to know the data. If you're not tracking anything, my God, how will you ever know what's actually going on? Yeah. It's just going to be based on a feeling, an opinion, or a thought. And it's only when you start to know your data, heart rate variability, sleep quality, VO2 max, and cellular deficiencies, that you can even have a base level understanding of what is going to be highly purposeful for you to focus on. Because I could all of a sudden say, you know what? Let's go to bed at a regular time at night, and let's wake up at a regular time in the morning. That's where we're going to start. And you could do it for 2 weeks and be so diligent and so focused and so on it. But now you have a hard time falling asleep because your body's not used to that circadian rhythm. And then all of a sudden you start getting frustrated because you're actually just laying there and your mind starts racing and you actually don't feel like you're getting anywhere. And then by the time you finally fall asleep, you actually don't get into a deep sleep. And then you wake up and you're still tired in the morning, even though you're getting more sleep than you were getting before.
Story of my life right there.
Because your circadian rhythm is still disrupted. And so then you wake up in the morning and you still don't go to the gym, or you still don't get your workout in, or you still don't get the proper meals because the food you're eating in the morning is actually spiking your glucose levels and spiking cortisol levels throughout the day. So your hormones are all out of whack. And now you're like, I was told to start with sleep, but sleep mustn't just work for me. And thus this whole thing is all screwed up. Yeah. This is why we have to know the data. So when we know the data, okay, cool. This is the 3 things we're going to focus on for you because they have the most weight for you right now in this season. This is going to be the smallest move for the biggest gain. Right. And that's where we're going to focus. And then you start to see these little iterative wins. And as you see iterative wins, what does it build? Confidence. As you build confidence, what does it build? consistency. When consistency builds, what does it build? Momentum. Momentum then carries through over and over and over again. So what seemed hard at the beginning now seems easy. What seemed daunting at the beginning now seems little. And so when you do good with the little, you are given much. And that's the greatest part about this whole thing of understanding the body, is it gifts back to you as you go on that journey.
Mm-hmm. And that sounds like the power of ownership, power of owning your process and who you are. And
that's amazing. No, like, so how would people enroll, and what's the cost, and like what's all the details to getting under? Because you're based in California right now, but then like you said, your parents, you just renew their membership to the, so you can really dive into a program anywhere in the world. Is that correct?
So what we've built is a fully virtual, 100% virtual relationship with, and we've built basically a virtual clinic. We have, like I said, your team will consist of a registered dietitian, strength and conditioning coach, functional medicine doc, as well as a cognitive behavioral therapist. So they are in your pocket 24/7. And this is not AI. This is a human being. This is a relationship. We're doing a project right now called, such a creative name, the Testimonial Project. We're helping our 1500th client. So we're telling 150 stories of people who have realized transformation. And I ask a question at the end of every single story. And I say, what makes Own It different? And I think what's warmed my heart the most is that people come in and say, this is truly a relationship. Like my coaches know me. My team knows me. I talk to them daily. This is not a transaction. This is a relationship. And that's what we set out to build, was true relationship with our end user, true relationship with our client, because transformation doesn't happen through technology. Transformation happens through relationship. Yeah. And when you can truly create that relationship, you now are able to guide somebody with them, go on a journey and really help them. And so when we build this, again, 100% virtual. You'll get all your testing to your house. We send the phlebotomist to your home. You communicate on a day-to-day basis through text, video, and picture message. You've got opportunities every single quarter to come down here. We're based in Miami, to come to Miami and do cancer screening, 3D heart mapping, DEXA scans, VO2 max testing, some advanced analytics, and be in community with other business owners, entrepreneurs, other tip of the spear people, and see your coaches in person, because we bring them in every quarter. And so this is just how we've set up our company, so that you're not reliant on a person, place, or thing. You're not reliant on the personal trainer. You're not reliant on the one location. So when you're traveling from LA to Seattle or New York or Denver or Colorado, or going on vacation to Europe for a week, that everything goes to hell in a handbag. Rather, no, it's just another day, because I've got my team with me the whole way. And that's what we wanted to build. We wanted to build a lifestyle change. We wanted to build a true high performance lifestyle, so that you can have high performance today and longevity tomorrow, and equip, educate, and empower you to take ownership of that by going on a journey, not dumping it on you and say, hey, figure it out.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I think what it speaks to me is what you just said there about the relationship building and the fact that it's all encompassing. I think sometimes with all of us, like, we think, okay, I want more out of my workouts, I'm going to hire a personal trainer, or I want to find out my health, I'm going to take a blood test, and it's very fragmented, and that's the system is built to be fragmented, because it is hard to be all encompassing. This is the whole meal, full meal deal, no pun intended on meals, but the full meal deal when it comes to your health, so that you have that kind of that guide, as you say, every step of the way, and it's taking care of things, not just the fragmented bits, but the whole picture. And it marries, as I can tell with what you're talking about, the spiritual side as well too, which is very important as well. The whys, what are we even doing this for? What is this all for? Why not just let yourself go and, you die when you die, because, whatever. I mean, there are people that literally just say, when I'm dead, I'm dead. Who cares? But, but that's not who you're looking for. You're looking for the people that are rowing or that are swimming to the helicopter, because those are the people that want to get the most, and now have the ability to have the full encompassed health plan that they can then, that's tailored to them, not just a one size fits all.
Amen.
Yeah. Amen. And we'll leave it on that, but thank you so much, Justin, for your time.
And how can people get a hold of you?
Yes. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, ownitcoaching.com is the best place to go. Find out more about us. You can book a call with our team right there to be able to explore what this looks like for you, be able to help you and go to that next level. And then if you want to follow me on Instagram at Justin, ROETH, at Justin Roth, all my information's there. And then all the other links out from different things, from my podcast to YouTube to everything else is right through Instagram, but ownitcoaching.com.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Justin, thank you so much. I mean, I learned a lot. This stuff is it blows my mind, and it's amazing. Your book is amazing. Everybody should pick it up because you will learn so much.
Yeah. The power of ownership. Thank you so much, Justin.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to the Subject Free Podcast. Make sure you subscribe, follow, rate, or review. Until next episode, we hope you're going in subject free.